I'm Kardea Brown and welcome to my kitchen. I'm so glad you're joining our cook along. Today we are making Southern collard greens with smoked turkey and roasted garlic. Collard greens are a staple in every Southern household, and I'm keeping that tradition alive by making them a delicious Thanksgiving side. We're cooking together, but at any point, if I get ahead of you, hit pause and catch up to me when you're ready. Now, before we begin, please preheat your oven to 375 degrees. All right, let's get cooking. All right, now we're going to prepare our garlic for roasting. Get your head of garlic, a sheet of aluminum foil, just a little square. Cut off the top of your garlic. Place your garlic. Let's hit it with some olive oil and a sprinkle of salt. Okay. That side down. Cover. Let's head over to our oven. Our oven is at 375. We're going to let it roast for about 45 minutes. Okay. Right. Why are we roasting this garlic? Roasting garlic is almost like caramelizing it. You're bringing out the sugar. It's going to make it a little sweeter. To me, it gives it more of a pungent, garlicky flavor. I think it's a great addition to collard greens. All right, hit the pause button. Meet me back here in 45 minutes. It's been 45 minutes and our garlic is roasted. I would suggest using a tongs to get it out because it is hot. Let that rest over here and let's head back to our chopping board to chop up some onions. All right, now we're going to prep our onion for sauteing. This is the way I like to cut my onions, right down the root. Keep the root intact to keep the onion intact while you cut it. Cut off this little end right there. I like to go down the center, then go across like that. And then go across. That's how you dice an onion. Well, that's how I dice my onion. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is saute our onion with a smoked turkey leg. This is the start of the flavor. A lot of the flavor in the greens are going to come from the smoked turkey. This is kind of like a Gullah Southern tradition to flavor your collards with turkey. Now this, from my understanding, started like, why did we start seasoning collards with smoked turkey? Well, back in the day, my grandmother would always say, we didn't have fancy seasonings and things of that sort. The only way that we can evoke flavor out of our vegetables and food was through meats, cured meats. And that's what we're doing with the smoked turkey. Okay. All right, that is done. Put your onion in a bowl and grab your turkey, and let's head over to our stove. Let's get our pot hot. I have a large Dutch oven. If you don't have a Dutch oven, just find a really large pot. I want to put some olive oil in here and a few tablespoons of butter. So we're melting our butter and oil together. I like using double fat because something about it just makes your dish more flavorful. So the butter has melted into the oil. Add your onions. All right, what I like to do is add a pinch of salt using a spoon. Just kind of mix it around there. Now, what we're going to do is let our onions soften. Once the onions have softened, we're going to add our smoked turkey. After we add our smoked turkey, we're gonna also add some chicken stock. We're gonna cook it down with the onions and the turkey until the turkey kind of gets kind of loose to the point where we're gonna be able to later like shred it with the collards. Okay, the onions are starting to soften and it's becoming a little translucent. At this point, I think I should add a little bit more oil. I'm gonna turn down the heat as well. I needed to add more oil because my oil is kind of burnt off with some of the onion. So if you start to notice that your onion is sticking to your Dutch oven, just add a little bit more oil or butter, and it's gonna help loosen that onions up from the bottom of your pot or your Dutch oven. Okay, now let's add our smoked turkey leg. Okay. Now we're gonna add a quart of chicken stock. Okay. Add some cracked black pepper. Let's bring this to a boil and head over to our chopping block to cut up our collards. All right, so your collards should be cleaned and dried. We have about 2 pounds of collards. What I like to do is fold it up, taking a chef's knife, and just cut out ribbons. The chefy term for that is a chiffonade. This is how I like to cut my collards, just like that. I think you get more use out of your bunch by cutting it that small. My grandma likes to cut her collards pretty thick, like that. So if you like yours pretty thick, then do that. But I preferred a chiffonade. And I also like using the stem. There's a lot of people that don't like using the stem, but I think it adds texture and flavor. So I go all the way down. Okay, so this is what is left after I finish chopping my collards. Grab a big bowl, put them into the bowl. You know what? This is going to look like a lot of collards, but it's not, because just like any other green vegetable, when it gets hot, it's going to cook down and reduce in size. So collard greens are a little bitter in taste. That's why in my family, we like to add a little bit of sugar. I like to add honey. I like to add a natural sweetness to cut some of that bitterness that you get from the greens. So field greens, when I say field greens, I'm talking about the family of collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens. They're big in Southern cooking because they grow plentiful in the South because of the weather. So collards are, of course, cheap because you grew them yourself. And the great thing about collards, depending on where you are, well, not even depending on where you are, I mean, they're plentiful everywhere now. All righty. Let's clean off our chopping board, chopping block. Okay. Our smoked turkey and onions should be boiling right now. Let's take our greens over there. Okay. See, our stock is boiling. Let's turn it down to a simmer. Let's add our collards. Smells good already. And let me show you a trick. Okay. What I like to do is, because collards do shrink, and this may look like a lot in the pot, what I like to do is go to the bottom and bring it to the top. Go to the bottom and bring some of the collards that have hit the water, bring it to the top. And that's going to help shrink your collards. You see what it's doing? It's already reducing in size. Okay. All right, let's grab some water to add to our pot. I'm going to add 2 cups of water. Right? Okay, let's just add our water to our pot. We're just going to let this cook down. You don't need a lot of water for your collards to cook. Essentially what it's doing is steaming down. Once it steams down, you'll have what is called the pot liquor left in the pot. Now, if you think you need to add more water, you can do that. Just keep checking the pot. But for right now, this is great. It's going to cook down and create this flavorful liquid. What I like to do is come back here and check on the collards after an hour. After an hour, sometimes it's great, it's soft, we can start adding our other ingredients. But if you like your collards, like my grandmother likes her collards, she likes hers cooked all the way down. My grandmother used to cook her collards for hours. But for me, sometimes it's done within an hour or 2. So we're going to put the lid on, hit pause, and meet me back here in an hour. All right, so it's been a little over an hour, and our greens are done. Well, not done yet. We have to add a few more ingredients. So if you look into your pot, your greens should be simmering, and it will have a contrast of colors. It'll be a little darker green, some will be a lighter green. And what you want to do now is take out your smoked turkey leg. Let that hang out right there, cool down just a little bit. Now we're going to add some hot sauce. If you don't like spicy, you can just omit this step. I like spicy, so I'm going to add a few dashes of hot sauce. A little honey. And I'm adding the honey to cut some of the bitterness. I'd say about 2 teaspoons of honey. And let's hit it with a few pinches of salt. And cracked black pepper. Okay. Let's grab our roasted garlic. Okay. Just going to squeeze it in, just like that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Using your tongs, you can break up some of that roasted garlic inside of your pot. You smell that? Mm-hmm. That smells good. Okay. Now we're going to shred our smoked turkey leg. I like to use a fork and just break the meat off the bone, just like that. It should be tender, so the meat should fall right off. And add the skin too, and the shredded smoked turkey. All right. Matter of fact, I'm just going to place that over there. Add the smoked turkey to the pot. Now we're going to mix in our smoked turkey with our collards. Just mix it in. Let's give it a taste. See if we need to add anything else. To me, it smells perfect. Let's see. Blow it off, it is hot. Leave well enough alone, that is perfect. Okay, turn your heat off. And let's bring this back over to plate and taste. Okay. Oh my goodness, this smells just like my grandmother's house on Thanksgiving Day. I like to use a slotted spoon to get some of the juice out. If you like the juices, add it to your plate. You gotta grab some of that smoked turkey in there. Okay. All right. For me, I like to add a little bit extra hot sauce. I'm a Southern girl. We like our hot sauce. Okay. Let's give it a taste. It is so tender, and you get some of that smoky flavor from the smoked turkey. It is seasoned to perfection. The salt, the chicken stock, and then the roasted garlic is a nice surprise. That sweet caramelized garlic ties in all of the flavors of this traditional collard greens. Man, I tell you, this is going to be a hit at your next Thanksgiving celebration. I promise you. All right, thanks for taking my class. I hope you had fun with me because I certainly had fun with you.